And this one goes, that one goes over in that other corner. The hookup's up in the air. What's that? Yeah. Nah, we're pretty good here. It's rare that the church will lose power. Okay. So.
You want to do me first?
This is hi. I'm Clef. I'm doing sound back there tonight. I'm on the back corner there. So I do sound, and I also do the live stream and the recording for us, for our people. So we get all of that. The whole trade work. Well, this is on YouTube, so you go out to YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Put this onto your suit here. All right, now this I stick in a pocket or wherever you want to put it. It clips onto a belt, but it'll go in a pocket just as easily. And it's already turned on, but it's not. I don't have it turned on back there. So nobody will. Yeah. Nobody will hear you until a couple weeks ago. Test 1, 2.
Rosie? All right. All right, welcome to tonight's program, everybody. If I could ask everybody to please silence your telephones if you have them in your pocket or on your person before we start. And once everybody is done with doing that, if you please rise, take off your hats, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Got a couple announcements tonight before we get started. First of all, any World War II veterans in the audience today? One right there. Thank you for being here. And any other veterans from the service? Many, several. Thank you. Thank all of you and thank your family members for your service. As always, we have the helmet committee in the back of the room for donations when you leave. We also have coffee mugs for sale in the lobby there if you're interested in picking up a coffee mug. And we're also starting a charitable donation program. If you want to recognize or honor someone in your family with a donation, you can do that and contribute to the organization and also be recognized on the screen up above for that. A couple other announcements before we get started. First of all, maybe most importantly, Bill Jackson, who's in the front row, our founder and first president, turned 89 this week. So everybody wish him a happy birthday. As always, if you miss a program, you can go to our webpage or our YouTube channel and watch it or watch it again. We appreciate that support as well and appreciate all the people online that are watching us today. Another announcement is we don't have any more postcards. In the past, we've been sending out postcards. That became a little bit more expensive. And so we are just going to email only. So if you are not on our email distribution list, please talk to one of our volunteers, someone who has a name tag, and we'll get you signed up to make sure you're getting emails. We get about 2 or 3 a month, usually a week prior and a couple days prior and the day of. So if you're not seeing those emails, let us know and we'll get you on our email distribution list so you know exactly what's coming up in the future. We also have a Facebook page, and we're not sure who owns it. So if any of you own it, please come talk to us. We've sent letters and emails to the owner, but we haven't gotten responses yet. So before we contact Facebook and ask for the rights to it back, hopefully we can find out who has it. So I appreciate that. Also, we have an opening on our board of directors. So a few people have already expressed interest in helping and volunteering and supporting. But if you are passionate about what we do and you have some time to help out, please talk with one of the board directors or some volunteers, somebody that has a name tag on after the meeting, and let us know that you're interested or if you have any questions. We'd appreciate that. AHEC, Army Heritage Education Center over in Carlisle, is always looking for veteran volunteers to do oral history projects. It's a great program. I did it myself. And they team you up with a student at a high school, and that student interviews you for 2 different sessions. So it takes about 2 hours out of your time, and that interview helps the student learn about history, and that interview also goes in the archives for forever at AHEC. So it's a really good project, and I appreciate everybody. If you're willing to give that time, it's a very good mission. A couple of upcoming events that we want to make sure everybody know. First for outreach, I got a list here. First of all, next Friday, not tomorrow, but the next Friday on the 15th of September, AHEC is also doing a POW MIA commemoration and barbecue. It starts at 6 o'clock. It's only for an hour, but it does require an RSVP. So if you're interested, again, come talk to us, or you can Google AHEC and just figure out how to RSVP yourself. And let us know if you have any problems with that. And then right after that, actually the 15th through the 17th, World War II weekend is going on at the Eisenhower National Historic Site down in Gettysburg. So if you're interested in that, again, you can look that up. But they have activities and speakers and programs throughout that whole weekend. Very good lineup. A month from now, so we'll talk about this next month, but 14, 15 October, there's the Army Expo 23, and that's going to be also at AHEC, at the grounds there, and also inside of the museum. They also have a used book sale as part of that. So if you're interested in books, like many of us are, or learning about the Army and some heritage, and we're also going to be representing with a table at that event. So come out and support us there. And then the 21st of October, there's the American Veterans Honor and Remembrance Committee Swing Dance down at Valley Forge Military Academy and College. From 1 to 8, you got to sign up for it. There's tickets required, and Dottie is going to it. So she's going to tell you all about it. And then later that month, and there's some flyers out on the table outside as well, 27 to 29 October down in Gettysburg as well, there's the annual World War II conference with a lot of authors and speakers, and that lasts for 3 days, and that does cost money and a sign-up, so there's some information on the table outside for that. All right. So next month, We have on October 5th, Jack Wilbur Myers, 104th Infantry Division, and he was our July speaker. So he'll be back next month giving us his presentation. And then we have an upcoming field trip coming up, and I'd like to introduce one of our volunteers, Mike Moy, to talk about that briefly. Okay. That mic's not on, just this mic.
Okay. So we're planning a field trip to the museum at Fort Indian Town Gap. Time and date to be determined. Okay. Well, my wallet's missing. We're planning a trip to Fort Indian Town Gap Museum. If you've never been there, it's a hidden gem. It'll be on a weekend, probably a Sunday, with a date and time to be determined. And if I can get permission, I'd like to take the people that do attend to the land ships that are a hidden secret there at the Gap. So during the Second World War, they actually built wooden replicas of victory ships to teach the soldiers how to be stevedores. So the debris of those ships are still there. I could take you to see them if I get permission. So again, if you're interested, come see me when the meeting's over. We're going to try and limit it to 40 people, and we'll just meet at the museum, and I'll get directions and things like that later on. Thank you.
Well, thanks. You can keep the mic.
Okay.
It's yours. So this day in World War II history, in 1940, London received its first mass air raid from Nazi Germany. And in 1942, the Russian army counterattacked the German troops outside of the city of Stalingrad. So that's what happened today in World War II. And now on to our main event, and we introduce our speaker. So Dorothy Fillmore was born at a home outside Morgantown, Pennsylvania on July 9th, 1922. As a first grader, she walked more than a mile to class in a one-room schoolhouse. And after that, her family moved to a dairy farm close by to Elverson. She was the oldest of 7. The first 4 were girls, and Dottie became Daddy's girl, doing all the work that a son would do, milking the cows, cleaning up the stalls, and shoveling the snow. She helped to raise her sisters, who later helped their mother with the other duties, as Dottie did the outdoor work. She was a good student, graduating from Carverton High School, where she played basketball. And in 1940, she married Harry Trate, a local lad who also worked on her farm part-time. Harry was a machinist in Birdsboro Corporation and was deferred from the war because he was the only man who knew how to operate a particular machine, which made valuable parts for the Army. They lived well during the rationing, but Dottie kept hearing pleas on the radio for women to work inside the factories. Harry believed that women belonged in the home, but he eventually gave in. And so she went to work at the Doler plant outside of Pottstown. Dottie operated a punch press, cleaning off molded parts that were needed to build whatever was necessary for the war effort. Having fast hands, she did well at the production rate. But in 1945, when the men came home, the women had to give up their jobs, and she became a housewife, raising 3 children, and when the youngest reached his teens, she went back to work on a variety of part-time jobs. Upon retirement, Dottie and Harry did volunteer work and bought a motorhome traveling on lawn explorations throughout the states. Dottie has 5 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. She attributes her longevity to good country living, working hard, keeping active with her body and her mind, and always learning and maintaining a positive attitude. Please welcome Dottie Trate. I'm going to bring that for you. Welcome to the stage. It's a big event. So everybody knows a little bit about your background and your history, but can you tell us where you were when the war started and how did you hear about the war starting?
where I was in the war started, I was out with my cousin. We were out for a drive. And when we came back home, at that point we were living with my husband's his house because apartments, you just couldn't find a place to live till we were there. And we came in, and I remember saying, did you hear the news? Did you hear the news? And of course I heard the news too. So we were out in the first Sunday drive, it was on Sunday.
Did you have any family members that served in the war? One of your siblings?
No.
No?
No. Now later on, my brother was served in the service. He's a pilot in the Navy Air Force, and he's in they call it the Lebanon crisis during the war, and he flew. He flew a Super Constellation, and the Russians were on each end of his wings, tip to tip, with their guns, and all they had was a pistol. They weren't allowed to have guns, yeah. So back then, that was since then now. That was probably in the, 60s maybe?
Yep.
So he got killed coming in for a landing during a thunderstorm. He got killed at a production naval air base. So, but he's the only one in the family that was involved in the service, yeah.
So what was it like for you living in the States during the war with rationing and everything else going on before you started working?
Rationing was, we accepted that, I guess it's like an honor, really, being on rationing, that they were able to help our country. But we wondered about sugar and meats, and you wondered why, but it all had a part to help our country.
That's a really good way of looking at it, the honor. So when did you start working as a machinist? When did you start working in the factory?
In 1944,
Okay.
that was after you heard the plea for so long, and my husband finally gave in and let me go to work in 1944. I worked there until the end of the war.
Yep.
I loved it. I liked the work. Because I used to, being a farm girl, I was used to working. So, I liked it, yeah.
The hours were probably better in the factory than on the farm, I'm guessing.
I didn't have to get up so early in the morning because I worked second shift. I didn't like getting up early in the morning to milk cows. You always had to be home at 5 o'clock to milk cows again. But that was my life, and I enjoyed it. It was no hardship. I didn't feel it was a hardship. I think now, boy, I was work, but it was done. It was fun being a farm girl. Sounds like living on a farm. How many people here are farmers?
Farmers? Not too many.
Not
I
too
see two
many.
hands. We have two farmers in the audience.
New people have missed a lot in life, really. It's not 2 years the only way to live. But everybody chose a thing. Yeah.
So what did your parents think when you went to work? Or were they supportive, or did they have
Well, I was
any
married.
concerns?
I was married then, so I was on my own.
Okay, so they had no say on what you
So I
were doing.
didn't know. I know when I graduated from high school, I wanted to go, we lived in the country out near Morgantown, and I wanted to go to Reading to work. No way would my father agreed to me going in to Reading to work. Because I also wanted to be a nurse too. My grandfather taught me all that. So, I had a successful married life.
Yeah. Did you have any friends that worked? Any of your friends from school that worked with you?
Yes, some dear friends, yeah. I went to one girl's wedding, to her wedding. They're all gone now. They've all passed away. But we had some dear, yeah. Then we worked second shift, and I commuted with a carpool from two men from Reading, they came, I lived in Birdsboro, and of course we worked in Pottstown. About, maybe it was a month, we stopped at, it was called Rummy's Tavern. I don't think anybody knows about that place. But anyway, we stopped there about once, I say once a month. And that's where I learned to jitterbug. Because being a farm girl and living in a conservative area and conservative school, you didn't dance, you didn't play cards, you didn't go to movies, you didn't do anything. So I learned to jitterbug. So, and to this day, I like jitterbugging and square dancing, that type of dancing. That's action. Okay.
It's great. It's before Netflix. I don't think any of our kids jitterbug anymore. Tell us what a standard work day was like for you. What time you went to work, what you did you take lunch, were they long hours, did you work 7 days a week? What was it like?
5 days a week, 8 hours a day, that second shift. Like I said before, I enjoy work. I can't remember packing lunch, but I must have packed a lunch. Because I do not remember of going to a cafeteria, which I don't know if they had a cafeteria or not. Or lockers. Somebody asked me about lockers. Lockers? I don't think so. Back then, I don't think so. No, you went dressed in your uniform, you came home in your uniform. Of course, my job wasn't dirty. I didn't get really dirty. But moving the casings out and put them in the front.
Yeah, so someone told me to ask you about bathrooms, and you mentioned the locker room, right? So there was, before the war, it was all men's bathrooms, and so when women started working in the factories, did they change some of the bathrooms? Did they add bathrooms?
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
You don't recall?
I don't remember food. I don't remember bathrooms. No. I know the men, we were treated as women. They treated us well. I mean, like they'd lift their box of casings up for you and
Do you remember how much you got paid?
not technically on my book there. I had weekly salaries. I was on piecework. So a lot of this piecework, and I was a fast worker. So I did all right, so I can say.
So afterwards, when you come up to talk to Dottie, there's her ledger
Yeah, all
in
my
there.
budget, my Vicky's always there. And my husband, because he worked at the Birdsboro Seal, but that big press, and he was on hourly work. So a couple of times I made more than he did. That was a big thrill in my life. He didn't mind either. This one thing. So we saved our money for our home. I don't think I bought war bonds, but he bought war bonds regularly. So those helped to buy our home where I still live.
Right.
Because while I was working, we lived in a rented house in Birdsboro.
Did you get any other benefits from working at the factory? I'm guessing
No, I
it's
don't
pretty
think so.
difficult.
There's nothing came out then, no.
Healthcare, things like that nowadays? They didn't support you like that? Okay. Do you remember any highlights or like individual days or experiences from your time in the factory that stood out that you'd like to share with us?
Not really, except my boss happened to be also the man that I rode with to work to and from work from Reading. He's a nice guy, so I can say, yeah. That's not really stands out.
How many other women were in the factory with you? Remember the number or the percentage?
Yeah, a lot of women. And my friends, two of my good friends worked there, not in the same division I was in, but they worked there In fact, they worked there most of the war because their husbands, these were sisters that married brothers, and their husbands were in the war, so they went to work right away. So, other than that, there wasn't too many of my friends that went to work during the war. Couple, but not a lot, not that I knew.
But a couple couldn't work in the same factory, could they? Husband and wife, could they work together?
I don't know, but I wouldn't know why not.
Okay.
I would think they could. Yeah, I think they could.
So what did you do when you weren't working? What did you do for recreation during the wartime?
Not too much. My husband was working 7 days a week, so he was, overtime, and many times overtime too. And he worked second shift same as I did, and we had a gas a day's sticker with gas rationing. But if you had an A, I think you got 5 gallons a week. You didn't get much gas, so you couldn't go anywhere. So movies? No, didn't do anything during the war.
Yeah. Do you remember a favorite song from that time frame, or a favorite movie that you made it to go see?
Oh, right now I can't think of. But all the ones you hear today, I still love them today. Yeah. The numbers that are popular in the 40s, they're still my favorites.
You still like the songs
Right now,
from
I
the
can't
40s?
think of. I know, right now I'm blank as far as that. But
Glenn Miller?
Glenn Miller and the two brothers.
Andrew's Sisters?
Andrew's sisters. Yeah. That was good music. Yeah. We use the radio, I think, for entertainment. Most of the radio.
Yep.
Yeah. Because TVs came in later.
So how did you hear
We got bicycles then too. We bought 2 bicycles.
a bicycle?
But we bought bicycles because the gas was down because we couldn't run around. So we bicycle, we'd ride to friends nearby. That to our homes were 12 miles away. That was a little far to ride. But also, when it comes to gas, my father, we had a farm and he could gas. So when my husband used to help with the farm work, he would get gas and he'd have gas, he could give him for gas to come to go over to help with the farm work. So that was probably our extra fun time, going home to visit.
I'm guessing that when you were married and you left the farm, your dad was pretty disappointed because of all the work that you put in there. He had to put in twice as much work then, right, after you left home?
You mean for the work I did?
Yeah.
Well, there was 4 of us girls that were the older, and they were all 2 years apart. So I was the oldest. The next girl she was mother's girl. She worked in the house. She did housework. The third girl, she was more outdoor like me, and she started going into the barn to milk the cows and help. So she started helping there. Then after 5 years, then my mother had twins, a boy and a girl. And then 5 years later, another boy. So the boys, I always kid my brother now, and he's still living. My youngest, he's still living. He didn't really do much farm work, I must say. His teachers used to say he's spoiled. He was spoiled. I said, well, not by me, because I was out of the house then. But yes, my father missed me. Yeah, because I don't want to build my own horn, but I was handy, and I saw a need, I did it, and I enjoyed it.
That's great.
We got rewards for our family. We'd go, but being out having a dairy, we had dairy root in Elverson. We sold milk bottles, bottles of milk 8 cents a quart, 5 cents a pint. He would see that we got some pleasure, you know, in the summertime, we go on a picnic, like down to his homestead once a year, or we'd always go down to the northeast to the fishery. That was a big deal to do that every year, because we always had to be back by 5 o'clock to milk the cows. Yeah, so he couldn't do a lot. But those were big things in our life that we enjoyed.
So we talked about how you heard about the beginning of the war. How did you hear that the war ended? In the summer of 45.
Probably on the radio. Probably on the radio.
Were you
I
at work?
know the big, lot of noise, all kinds of noise, and my husband and a friend of his, he was working 3 to 11. They came home from work, and when we celebrated, we all went into Reading, which is 8 miles away, to Penn, and well, like any city, Penn Street's the main street of town. I can remember that being crowded with people. Everybody just shouting and cheering. So that's how we celebrated.
Yeah, well, that was my next question, is if you attended any parades or anything like that at the end of the war. But you did, and there were local parades? In Birdsboro or in Reading?
The parade, the big gathering was in Reading.
Reading.
In Penn Street, yeah. Yeah. It was a big thing. There's lots of interesting things in life. We did in Bergeron on the main street. And the French sailors, their boats would be coming to Philadelphia to be repaired. Those French sailors lived in boxcars at Monocacy, which is a little village below us, about 2 miles away. At midnight, they'd be going home on a Friday night. They'd come into Birdsboro for their fun, I guess. And they'd be half drunk, I guess, going down the road to the, we used to think about that. That was fun, I guess, enjoyment to us. Just sort of them having their fun. I did, my husband was he only had a mile to work, so he walked to work. And he would come down the main street because of the rowdy sailors. He'd come down the other street. Black House. We all did that. That was a big thing. But we did it because we do what we had to do. I remember one time I had a class meeting in my house, a church class meeting, and we got a blackout. We sort of laughed about that.
So how did your wartime experience change you? How did working in the factory change you after the war?
I don't know if it really changed me, because I was always a worker. And that was working we had produced too, and I by the rules. So I don't know if it really changed me. It made me respect the soldiers today, and the veterans. I think as I got older, I really respect the veterans more so now than I did back then, really. Now I really realize how much they went through and gave other life. So I don't think it really has changed my life that much. Because like I said, I was used to working and a giving person.
Did you ever go back to the factory and visit friends, or go back and visit the factory just to see what it
No.
ended up being later on? No? Is it still there?
I don't think so.
The building got torn
I
down?
don't think so. was thinking about driving down through there. We have to do that someday, Tom. Drive down to see what it looks like down there.
Yeah.
I know Jacob's aircraft was a big thing in Potsdam. That was the best place to go to make money. It was Jacob's aircraft. Then there was George Jarvis and the Spicers. They were the three big war factories, made war materials.
So when did you start talking about your wartime experience to groups like this?
That's interesting, I think, an interesting thing. How all my life, I never heard about Rosie or big deal of us. We did our job, and we were so glad to do it. About 5-6 years ago, my friend, John Bubbin, anybody know John Bubbin? Anybody know John Bubbin? Buddy, he's my dear friend.
Tom does.
Yeah, he knows it. He's a member of the Battle of the Bulge group, and he went into the World War II air show in Reading, and of course, and I went along just to go along with him, and with his Battle of the Bulge group, and once he said, well, you know, you should be a part of this. And I could, why? Well, yeah, because of you people working in the war plans that gave us the supplies that we needed to win the war. Because, you know, without us helping at home, things might be different. So he's the one who got me talked it up about Rosie. And from then on, you started hearing about Rosie. Now, maybe she existed before. I don't know. But I became, that's when I came. And now the ball's rolling and rolling. And the older I get, the busier I am. I am very fortunate. I am blessed. I really am. To be able to do this and to share my experiences with the younger people. I am. I'm really blessed. So I give him the credit. I give him the credit. I just talked to him today and told him about it. He wishes me the best. And he's going to be 100 in January. And he doesn't get around as well as I do, so it's hard. But he gets the credit, yeah. It all started at the World War II thing in Reading, at the air show.
At the Reading Air Show.
That was moved on to the American Experience, which is a great, I've been in there since day one, so they're all great people.
Well, there's a lot of good platforms out there, and we have a lot of competition, I know, so we're honored to have you. Tom, when did you know what your mom did? You know she worked in a factory during World War II all along?
I may have heard it, but that just didn't mean anything. It wasn't really until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so if you didn't hear that, he didn't know until a couple years ago really what his mom did as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Well, how about the general public? Did they know about it 50 years ago? 50 years ago, some of you are older than that. Did people talk about Rosie? Women workers?
That's why we do this, to share these experiences and these stories.
It's just something that just came out in the last like 10 years. I know. How many know May Cryer? May Cryer, the Rosie, went to bat in the government and got medals for us and did a lot of things in a big way. She is 11th town. She's a good. If you can get her to come here, that'd be nice. But she's pretty busy. She really. I just know.
Maybe you can help us out.
She does things at a bigger level, you know, which I'm glad for her. Really glad for her. She gets around.
Well, like you said, you've had an amazing life, and we all realize that just from talking and listening to you for a few minutes. But what else is on your bucket list?
Bucket list?
Yeah, what else do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? What are you looking forward to?
You can what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
I
on
know.
your bucket list?
Yeah, I knew. I heard you. I didn't know. I don't know. I keep saying a zip line, right? A zip line. Now I would do that, but I only want to be about 20 feet off the ground, maybe, and maybe go what?
Yeah, that's right.
I was just in a biplane. I loved that. I've been in a hot air balloon.
You've ridden a motorcycle.
I rode a motorcycle. I rode a sidecar. I rode a motorcycle. So I've been on train rides. Just recently, a local train ride in Boyertown. Jump out a plane? No way. No way.
Got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. I like to live a couple more years. I don't know. What did I forget? Seems like there's something that says zip line or something else. I thought I used to think it'd be nice to take a train ride across that famous train ride from across Canada. I always thought that would be nice to do, but I think it's sort of out of reason for me. Some things are just not anymore.
Well, is there anything else you want to share with us before we open it up to the group for questions?
I've had a good life, a happy life, a good marriage, and 3 lovely children and grandchildren, great-grands, and greats. So, I've had a good life. So I can be thankful for that. And I think that you have to give a lot of credit to the Lord Jesus. He does it all the time. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you.
I know it's been a couple of years. My little cousin had asked me a couple of years ago already to get me to come and for some reason I wasn't able. For the circumstances, I just wasn't able. But now I just felt because this is the time. Here I am.
Can you tell us about that picture that's closest to you, right behind the water bottle?
What about the picture?
That close one? You can tell us about that picture? Yeah, the one on the bottom?
This one here?
Yeah.
That's one of the Magnolia girls. We all really became friends. After you see them, you're your friends. They're different. That was taken in Allentown, I think. At the Allentown visit we were at with the Big Eye Valley chapter. And Mike Connor, the photographer, was taking pictures galore by the hundreds. And that was one of the pictures he took there of her. And she came to me just this past year with a baby. Her husband and her baby. They came back down to the Reading Air Show, came back and spoke with me. And it was nice.
What's the baby's name?
Oh yeah, Rosie.
Rosie?
Yeah, the baby's name is Rosie. Yeah. There's just sweet things like that happen all the time, like from different folks that you meet, like you guys, all of you. Yeah. It's nice. That picture there, That's the original picture of me back in 1944. And this is the same uniform, except minus the sleeves here. It's the same uniform I wore then. I can still wear it and get it, and it's starting to get. This has some iron patches here and there, but it's the same uniform. Yep. And we didn't wear these things. We wore nets, hair nets. So this comes in now, I guess. Looks pretty. That's the new one there.
The pin-up picture's yours too.
Yeah, that's me too. That is back. That is before the war, I think. Your reports. We were married, lived in an apartment. My sisters came, Daisy come and stay at our house, and she said, "How did you ever get the pinup pictures taken?" Because I'm a country girls. I said, okay, so we went. But the funny part is, I have got a couple pinup pictures, but nobody can find hers. Her daughters, nobody can find her pinup pictures, but I have mine.
Yeah, so she blames it on her sister, but we have no proof that her sister actually did.
Okay. Sister's fault.
Yeah, it's her sister's fault.
And
All right. Chris, you want to grab a microphone and we'll walk the microphone around and take any questions from the group? Just please raise your hand and we'll bring the mic around for you so people in the audience can hear you as well as people in TV land. There's Patty over here and there's a question, two in the back left over here.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. I do quite a bit of research on World War II, and I see a lot of newspapers.
I get back.
Maybe you can, Jeff, maybe you can tell her what I'm saying then.
Okay.
I see a lot of newspapers from during the war, and there's headlines in it, like who was killed that week and who's missing in action and that sort of thing. And I was wondering what it was like to be living on the home front and see those newspapers every day and look for the people that live in your community.
Yeah, so did you hear the question okay?
Pretty well.
So the question was the newspaper headlines every day kind of covered what was going on in with the world, what was going on in the war, and who was passing away, who was dying. So how did you receive that information, and how did you, understand like when people in the community were passing away or dying?
Well, everything was radio.
Radio?
And we played the radio all the time. We used to set up our refrigerator. My reaction would have been, oh dear, not again. That many? Things like that. We just feel, every now and then we used to play close to home. Because a lot of quite a few of our friends and neighbors have went in. Not too many of them were killed though in action. They came home safely. But I would think, oh no. We thought it was horrible. Today you take it just I guess for granted today. But back, no. We just thought, oh no, dear. But you learn to live with it.
To answer your question, Patty?
That's it?
Question back here.
Thank you for coming. Did your job in the factory end the day the war ended, or did it take a while for them to close the factory down?
No, that factory was busy for years. Afterwards, it was still.
So when the war stopped, you stopped working, but the factory continued doing other things?
Yeah, right.
But you stopped the day of the war ended? That was your last shift? Your last paycheck?
At the same time, I had a miscarriage. So I was sorted out then. But then I remember going back, and then that was the end of it. There was no more work for me. but the business store Jarvis was still in business for a number of years after that. They were, but that didn't end my working career. Because, like I say, my husband didn't believe in women working outside the home. So from then on, then we concentrated on buying a home a few years later and raising a family.
Yeah, I have a question. A couple of things that you commented on. My grandmother in Columbus, Ohio, worked for the General Motors factory at that time, and then they switched that over when she was working. I understand to make tanks during World War II. If I recall that you were saying that she never drove either, was that a normal thing for? She always kind of carpooled to go to the factory and work. Was that a normal thing for the women to do at that time? They didn't have cars, so they would get together with people?
Gas. Just say gasoline. Everybody carpooled. Everybody carpooled then, because you didn't have the gas.
Because it was rationed.
You said just to say gas.
And the other question was, she stayed on actually, and she worked there until she retired back in the early 70s. So I was interested that you actually, when you stopped working, did they force you to stop working, or you decided not to work?
I was stopped. My job was done for me. I was laid off. Well, you say laid off, but he wasn't laid off because you didn't get no laid off pay. I was just done. Dismissed. Because I didn't care.
Did someone take your responsibility for that job, or did that job just go away because it was not required anymore?
I would say it was not required anymore.
Not required?
Because I was doing part to make machinery. So the war was over, so those things aren't needed anymore as much as they were during the war.
Now in Gettysburg, you had some of the parts and pieces that you made, or like, did you bring some of those to show the group today? Is there some down here?
No, but there might be some in the bag.
Maybe, okay. So if you're
But
curious afterwards to see what she was doing during the war, you can come down and talk to her and get an autograph afterwards. Sir?
What kind of machine were you operating? Was it hard for you to learn how to operate it? And what kind of parts were you making?
the machine was a table press, a table punch press. I was sitting like this, and the machine was right here. And the box of casings could be here. Now the casing could be a small bit or bigger than my thumb. Those casings were coming with rough edges around. With I think maybe know the name of this, but I wouldn't know the name. They have rough edges, and I would put these in the machine and punch press the rough edges are out, and they become a clean piece that would be used to make a larger machinery. Does that answer your question or not?
Yeah, but do you know what kind of machine it was finally attached to, or what part of the...
Where the equipment was going, she was making, what it was for. So the parts that you made, where did those parts go? Did they go to airplanes, tanks, cars?
Guns, everything, anything. There was little plant, in machine, like one of the parts is part of a carburetor. They're just little parts, but they all use their parts to make guns or anything, any ammunition, any kinds of ammunition.
Did you get hurt at all while you're working on this machine? Did you get injured? Good safety record.
No. Only one night that I worked on a little table press thing. Is right here in front of me. It was right about that high. So one night they said, they had a job, did you be done in a big press? Now a big press is a big press, tons and tons. So I went out there. Well, I did the job. That was it. Those things tons of stuff, weight coming down. That was a little much for me. So I used that one night to help out. Yeah. No, my pieces is small. They're just small. But my pieces are using them. Don't know what you want to make in the machinery. It could be engines or tank or plane or whatever. Many times we didn't know what they were going for. Back then, stickers were stickers.
We talked about how you're a basketball player, you had good eye-hand coordination, obviously, and you were very good at the machine. Was there a number or a quota of events you had to make per day of items, or you just worked your shift and whatever you made that day went on to the next part of the assembly line?
Well, if you didn't get done I was on second shift, so somebody else would come on first shift. I don't remember the third shift or not, probably so, but I don't know. No, whatever I didn't get done, something else to do. It's like, what's the beginning of your first question was?
Was there a quota, like a number of punches that you had to make per day or per hour?
No, but like I said, it was piecework. Some jobs were on piecework because you could really make money on it, which I did. But otherwise, no. I was never penalized or anything like that for not making my quota. No, really.
Question over here.
So this is a little bit off the World War II. I hope it's okay. You said she played basketball in high school, and I was wondering if you watch the game anymore and see how much it's changed since when you played.
Do you still watch basketball today?
Somewhat. Not as much as baseball.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. She's more of a Phillies fan now.
Basketball, I played basketball. I was on the team. I was a pretty good forward then. Yeah, basketball. I liked it. Cause I guess the guy played softball too in school. Played the piano for the orchestra and stuff.
There's a question in the back there, Steph.
I heard you had a birthday party over the summer. How was it?
My birthday party?
Yeah, you had a big birthday party?
Last year, I was a blast. It was pretty good. My kids did a fine job. Yeah. The live music, homemade ice cream. How's that sound? It was good.
That sounds pretty good.
Ready for 102.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You're ready for your Hearn's second birthday already. Ready to celebrate.
I'm working on it.
Question up here, Chris.
My birthday party tells us to do it on furnish. Now, how many have been to do it on furnish? The Hake Valley Festival. Nobody's been there? You're missing a lot. This weekend is a big weekend festival to enter furnish. That's where I have a birthday party. I'm a live member there. It's a great place to go. If you've ever been to Joanna Furnish, or it's called the Creek Valley Fall Festival this weekend, you want to go. It's a great place.
Question right here.
Well, you grew up on a farm, and everybody was at the farm when you were still working. We hear so much about victory gardens. Did you have big gardens? Did you have a garden? Did you have time for that?
I did. Like I said, I was married. We lived in a rented house in the outskirts of Birdsboro. Excuse me. And we had a nice garden. We had a nice. Oh yeah, we were both gardeners. We had a nice garden. That was canned food. I canned everything you could can. That is a little bit before freezing came. Everything you can. My cans, y'all. proud of my cane stuff. You can see it. Cane is against stuff. Now I use a pressure cooker. How many use a pressure cooker to can things? Anybody use it? There we go. That pressure cookers were before freezers. Now everybody freezes, which I do too. But yeah, we had a birthday garden, very nice one.
Any more questions? One right here in the red shirt.
How many people have gardens today? How many of you people have gardens? Well,
Oh yeah.
good.
About
That's
half.
good. Good.
Okay. When did you have your children? Were they after the war, or did you have any children before you started working?
My children?
Yeah,
Yes.
when were your children born?
Well, the war was in 44 and 45, and we were still living in Birdsburg. So in 52 or 53, we bought our home. Well, first of all, no, my daughter was born in Birdsburg. My daughter was born in 47. That was my first child, 47. The second child was a boy that was born in 1950, and the third child was Tom. He's born in 53. Did I answer your question? Did I answer?
All right, last call for questions. All right, just a reminder while Chris works his way up for our gift. So Dottie's going to stick around after the program, and she's going to sit down here and sign autographs, and you can talk to her and look at some of her memorabilia if you want to come and talk to her. If you want to dance with her, remember the 21st of October, that's when you're looking for dancing partners, right? Down at Valley Forge.
I suppose we had a queen of a ball.
A lot of swing dancing going on that
That's
day.
what he said.
A lot of swing dancing going on that day.
Not me, though. No, not me.
All right, well, thank you. And
I had a great time.
I'd like to invite our president, Chris Huffman, to come up and present our going away gift, or our thank you gift.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for mentioning October event. Well, I flyer for that. If anybody wants flyers, I put in flyers to spread the word. It's going to be a great event. Sorry.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Jeff, for being up front with our speaker tonight, and thank you, Dorothy, for your presentation. Thanks, Tom, for bringing your mother and making the drive through difficult weather tonight. I appreciate you guys coming. I do want to present the speaker gift, and I have a few more remarks after that. So here's a small token of our esteem. Our famous World War II coffee mug, which I think will serve you well in the mornings for some coffee with breakfast or whatnot.
Yes. I'll use this every day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're definitely welcome. Thanks so much. And I just want to point out that Dorothy did a great job. She's 101 years old, everyone, and it's quite an achievement. And she went, as Patty mentioned, on a biplane ride on her 101st birthday this past summer. So that's pretty impressive. And she has other plans she just mentioned, maybe for a zip line, this and that. So now for a few other announcements. Our next month's speaker, October 5th, just to reiterate, I know Jeff mentioned, but I want to reiterate just as a reminder that Jack Myers, he was ill back in July, but we're happy he's healthy again, and he's confirmed he'll be speaking for us on October 5th. He's from the 692nd Tank Destroyer Battalion, that's what he served in, and the European Theater, and he was a combat M36 tank gunner, also served an anti-tank gun unit as well. Thanks to President Bill Jackson for being here, our founder and creator. Thank you. And all our veterans, World War II and otherwise, we want to thank again. I always want to make that point. I know Jeff did up front, but I want to reiterate that again. We want to thank all our board members. We just had a board meeting this past week. We have new and exciting things planned for you, as Jeff mentioned, our outreach, and also our upcoming field trip, which will be very exciting. We haven't had a field trip for a number of years, but we're very excited to bring that program to you. We have more in the works as well. We have some other field trips that we'll be discussing and later time, other ideas in the works as well. So all our volunteers and our board members we want to say thank you to, as usual. We can't do it without you. We have, just a quick reminder that our postcards ended as far as at the end of August. So please, if you've not done already done so, please be added to our email list. If you talk to one of our volunteers, we'll get it to Laura, who handles our email list, and she can add you to our email. If you don't have an email, a relative can maybe help you with that, or a friend, and keep you updated on our meetings and our other programs. Okay, I have to also remind you about our helmet committee donations. Although it's obviously not a requirement, we do hope you can support us financially if you can, if you feel the desire to. Our gentlemen are in the back who have authentic World War II helmets, and they'll be happy to take your donations. It does really help us out because we're dependent, we're a nonprofit organization, we're dependent on your beneficence and on your donations because we do have costs every single month, and your donations help us achieve everything that we do. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate you all being here. You attendees also make it happen. And we'll see you next month, and have a very good night. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.